Hello, I'm Josh Van Jura, and I'm UDOT's project manager for the Little Cottonwood Canyon Environmental Impact Statement, or EIS, and I wanted to use this video to give everybody a project update. Back on June 8th of 2020, we released our alternative screening report, and we received over 6,500 comments on the 3 proposed alternatives. And I think this level of public input clearly demonstrates the passion and really people worldwide have for this very special place. The major theme that emerged from these comments is the need to solve not only the congestion problem that the canyon's expected to experience in the future, but also the problems that they're experiencing today. If you're interested, you can find a full list of the comments as well as an executive summary and answers to some of the frequently asked questions on our website. But included in those 6,500 comments were 19 new alternatives or suggested refinements to the 3 original proposed alternatives. So in this video, I wanted to give a quick review of the project's purpose and need, our alternative screening process, and an overview of those new alternatives and refinements that will be carried forward into the draft EIS. So canyon challenges. The average daily traffic in the canyon proper is approximately 3,300 uphill vehicles. However, during busy ski weekends and powder days, this number nearly doubles and quickly exceeds the roadway capacity, which results in long travel times and backing along both Wasatch Boulevard and 9400 South that makes it difficult for residents to get into and out of their homes. So this isn't just a skier problem. On a normal day, Google Maps says it takes roughly 21 minutes to travel the length of SR 210. However, in the planning year of 2050, this travel time is expected to become 80 to 85 minutes, or nearly quadruple, on 40+ days per year. So basically every Saturday, Sunday, or holiday, again, this travel time is going to quadruple, which is just unpalatable. When you add in the queuing associated with avalanche closures, these travel times can quickly become hours long. As you're probably aware, Little Cottonwood has the highest avalanche danger of any road in the world and averages 56 hours of closure per year. And of course, these closures happen when it's snowing hard, which is exactly when people want to go skiing. And that brings us to our project's purpose and need. The project's goal is to substantially improve safety, reliability, and mobility on SR 210 from Fort Union Boulevard through the town of Alta. So as UDOT defines it, mobility is the level of ease to travel along the roadway. Essentially, it's a measure of congestion. And reliability is the degree of certainty and predictability in those travel times. Safety is, of course, important to UDOT on all of our projects, and for this project, it's related to both avalanche hazard and the roadside parking. So just a quick review of the NEPA screening process. I wanted to remind everyone of the process that we used to reduce the 105 ideas that the team started with at scoping to the 3 that were released on June 8th. And this is the same screening criteria that we use for the 19 new alternatives or refinements proposed during the comment period that we'll review. So all of the 5 alternatives I'm going to review have the following commonalities. All 5 alternatives have mobility hubs, because of course we're proposing 5 transit-based solutions. So we need a place for people to park their cars, but also for passengers on inbound buses to disembark and transfer to one of these 5 modes. All 5 alternatives require widening of Wasatch Boulevard as long as snow sheds, tolling, and include roadside parking limitations and trailhead improvements. So the 5 alternatives that will move forward into the draft EIS for more in-depth environmental impact analysis are the enhanced bus with peak period shoulder lanes, a gondola from the mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon, a gondola from the Caille base station, and a Cog Rail from the Caille base station. So let's look at each of these individually. Under the enhanced bus alternative, the defining characteristic of this alternative is that there's no widening in the canyon. This alternative has 2 mobility hubs at the Gravel Pit in 94 South and Highland, and has 24 buses per hour at the peak period, or a bus leaving each mobility hub every 5 minutes with direct service to the resorts. From the June 8th report, there haven't been any significant changes to this alternative. Really, just the capital and O&M costs were updated based on comments received. So for this alternative, there's a 54-minute travel time for transit users. The capital cost is estimated at $334 million, and this includes the alternative commonalities we just discussed. And the operation and maintenance budget for this alternative is $10.3 million. So the second alternative is the enhanced bus with peak period shoulder lanes. This is very similar to the enhanced bus that we just discussed, except under this alternative there would be roadway shoulder widening from the High T on Wasatch up to the Alta Bypass Road. And buses would use these shoulders during peak periods to reduce the travel time for the transit passengers. Also, these wider shoulders would increase safety for both disabled vehicles and cyclists. Again, there was no significant changes from the June 8th report with this alternative. Only the O&M costs and the capital costs were updated. So under this alternative, travel time is estimated to be 36 minutes, which is the lowest of the 5 alternatives. Capital costs are estimated at $481 million, and operation and maintenance costs at $8.3 million. The third alternative is a gondola at the Little Cottonwood Park and Ride, or the mouth of the canyon. And under this alternative, transit users would park at the mobility hub and then take a bus to the mouth of the canyon to board the gondola. Again, there would be no parking at the gondola base station under this alternative. And a 35-person gondola cabin would depart every 2 minutes from the base station. So we did have a number of changes from the June 8th report that I'd like to highlight. We added a second mobility hub at 94 South and Highland, again similar to the 2 previous bus alternatives based on comments received. And we also added snow sheds to the same locations as the bus alternatives based on comments. Impacts to summer service will be analyzed under this alternative. And I think it's important to note that the operation and maintenance costs that have been updated along with the capital costs for all alternatives only reflect winter service. Under this alternative, travel time would be 63 minutes. Capital costs are estimated at $546 million and O&M at $8.3 million. So let's get to the 2 new alternatives. The first of which is a gondola from the Caille base station. And again, this is very similar to the previous gondola alternative. However, the base station would be located roughly 3/4 of a mile to the northwest along North Little Cottonwood Road. Also, this alternative would add a third mobility hub at the base station for approximately 1,500 cars. And as you may remember, we need parking for roughly 2,500 cars, so we would still have a mobility hub at the gravel pit in 9400 South, but they would be substantially smaller. Also, this alternative would require Wasatch to be widened to 2 southbound lanes beyond the current widening limit of the High T intersection and up to the revised base station. And under this alternative, impacts to summer service will also be analyzed. This alternative has a travel time of 55 or 59 minutes based on where you park, has an estimated capital cost of $576 million, and an operation and maintenance cost of $6.9 million. The final alternative is the Cog Rail based out of Caille. Again, very similar to the Caille gondola, except it's a Cog Rail. It also would add a third mobility hub with roughly 1,500 cars at the Caille base station, and include the 2 smaller additional mobility hubs. And the alignment for the Cog Rail would be on the uphill or north side of the canyon, generally following the roadway alignment. And under this option, a train would depart every 15 minutes and carry roughly 250 passengers per trip. This alternative also requires additional snow sheds beyond the snow sheds that are required in the other 4 alternatives to protect the train below the Hellgate and Superior slide paths. And again, impacts of summer service will be analyzed under this alternative. Travel time is 55 or 59 minutes based on where you park. Capital cost is estimated at $1.05 billion, and the operation and maintenance cost is estimated at $6.3 million for this alternative. So there's a brief overview of the 5 alternatives that will move forward into the draft EIS for a more in-depth environmental impact analysis. I just wanted to spend a minute on our process and schedule. As a reminder, we held the draft alternatives public meeting and comment period in June and July of 2020. In between now and the release of the draft EIS, the project team is going to continue refining and evaluating these 5 alternatives. We expect to have a draft EIS next summer, at which time we'll release the environmental impacts of each alternative: air, water, noise, visuals, etc. And at that point, we'll have another 45-day public comment period and a public hearing. We expect the final EIS and record of decision in the winter of 21-22. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of you who took the time to review the materials and make comments. Because of your comments, we now have 5 better defined alternatives that meet the project's purpose and need that we can move forward with. You can find the full addendum to the alternative screening report at our website, littlecottonwoodeis.udot.utah.gov. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.